Okie dokie. Let's learn some arteries and veins, hey? You only need to learn 11 arteries. Let's have a look and see which ones they are. The first one that you need to know is the aorta, okay? Now, here you see the heart. The aorta is the blood vessel that comes out of the left ventricle. And it goes up, around, and then down again, okay? So the aorta is the one that we want you to remember. The next one is the carotid arteries. So let me just show you here. Remember how the heart fed itself first? So you've got the aorta coming out of the left ventricle, and you've got the left and right coronary arteries going straight to the heart, because the heart will always feed itself first. So the aorta goes up, around, and then back down again. Now let's have a look and see. So you've got your first branch of the aorta is going to be the brachiocephalic, and then that branches off into the right common carotid and the right subclavian. Can you see how it's not symmetrical? It's not the same on the left side. The left common carotid is on its own, okay? So just be mindful of that. Subclavian, here we go. Subclavian artery. If you have a look here, you have a look at the aorta. It goes brachiocephalic, right subclavian, and can you see on the left side it's not the same? You've got left subclavian. So just make sure you understand like the branching off from the aorta. Here we go. Now the subclavian, you've got left and right subclavian. Now what you need to understand is that blood vessels change their name depending on where you are. So let's follow this blood vessel, subclavian. When it changes names, so when you get to here, it's called the axillary. It's the exact same blood vessel, it just changes its name. And when you get to here, it's called brachial. And then you also can see can you see here you've got the axillary, and then you've got, it splits into two, the brachial and the deep brachial, and then you've got the brachial, and then you've got the radial there and the ulnar there. So you can kind of follow it along and see how we ended up with these two. The brachial artery is used for blood pressure. Okay. Mesenteric is just the branching off the aorta, and all this does, you've got two mesenterics. One that branches off. This is the aorta here, so you've got one that comes off the top and one that comes off the bottom. So you've got an superior and inferior, and they feed the small intestine and just the digestive stuff. Okay, so just remember the mesenteric has two branches, and it feeds the small intestine and the large intestine and the colon, and it just comes off the aorta. All right, so let's have a look at the lower limb. If you have a look at, let's have a picture of it. Here we go. This is the aorta. Can you see the aorta splits into two? Okay, so the aorta splits into two, and what it splits into is the iliac. Okay, so that's coming off the aorta. This iliac, the aorta comes down and it splits off into two. And then you can follow along to see the same blood vessel is called a different name. So here we come is the femoral artery, is the other one you need to learn about. The other one that you need to know is popliteal, which is the one that's there for your looking at, this is looking at posterior, so the back of your knee, okay? And the solaris pedis is, where is it? The solaris pedis. I can't even see that one, which is by the arcuate artery. I think I have a picture of that one. Solaris pedis. Also, I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. That's the one there. Okay, it goes, supplies the top of the foot. Okay, so they're the arteries that you need to know. Let's have a look at some veins. Inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, and they both dump the blood into the right atrium. Subclavian vein, here we go. So the subclavian vein, it comes off. I can see here, look at this, you've got the superior vena cava. Can you see how the subclavian vein comes off it? And the left subclavian vein comes off that too. So you can just follow it along. If you can find the superior vena cava, you can find the subclavian. And then you can follow it along, look. Axillary vein, brachial vein, basilic vein, median cubital vein is the one that we get blood from. Jugular vein. Now this is a little bit more different. Okay, the jugular vein is, there are several veins that this term refers to. And can you see here, it's got to do with draining the blood from the brain, face and neck. So you've got all of these blood vessels and it's dumping all the blood into the superior vena cava. Okay, if you have a look at the external jugular and their internal jugular, so this is external jugular vein, internal jugular vein. All right, so you can see how they're all kind of connected, and this is, the whole thing is called jugular veins. All right, and then can you see how they're all connected? And this one dumps into the subclavian vein there. Okay, it's anterior, internal, jugular. Oh, this is the venous arch. So this is the jugular venous arch here, and this is external jugular vein. Right, we have a vein that drains the blood from the kidneys, and they are called renal veins. Ooh. So here is your kidney, renal vein. So we've got two of those. Now, what you need to understand is that there's a very, very important, and we're going to come back to this when we do digestive, very important way by which we get blood from the stomach and the intestine back into the systemic circuit. So what happens is that your stomach and intestine get blood from the aorta. Then you absorb things. So you absorb your nutrients, your protein, your carbs, your lipids. But instead of all of that stuff that you've absorbed going straight into your blood, your systemic circulation, it is looked at by the liver first. So blood goes into the stomach and your intestine, it picks things up, and then it goes to your liver. And your liver runs its eye on it. And if you've got any toxins in there, it'll neutralize it, and then it'll go into your vein. Okay? So it's like a safety mechanism to make sure that what you eat is not going to kill you. So this vein here is going to be hepatic portal vein. So blood goes into the stomach and intestine, you absorb things, it goes through the hepatic portal vein to the liver, liver detoxifies all the alcohol that you've drunk, or some of it, and then it goes into your, through the hepatic vein into your venous blood. So it's like a safety mechanism to protect your systemic circulation from what you eat. Right, let's have a look at these. Can you see here that we're actually coming from the inferior vena cava here? All right, and you've got the inferior vena cava splits off into two, bang, bang, and then you can follow these along and work out which is the great saphenous vein and the popliteal vein. Oh, and that's it. Okay, so just a couple of arteries and veins. Make sure you know where to spot them, like where they come from, and follow them along and what they become and if they change any names. Happy days, we have finished topic. Like I was saying before, I think I accidentally cut it off. we have just finished topic 8. So huge effort, huge topic, but I think we got there in the end. So yeah, that's the end of topic 8.